the ugliest thing I've made in my entire life. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I'm V, and I wanted to start off by saying thank you guys so much for 10,000 subscribers. That is insane. I still can't wrap my head around it, and I'm so grateful for every single one of you. So thank you so much for your support. The whole reason that I started this channel was to not be alone in my writing and to find a writing community and writing friends. So I'm truly grateful that I have 10,000 of you in my writing corner. So thank you guys so very much. To celebrate, I thought I would do a Q&A, which I've been meaning to do on my channel for so long. And then I also wanted to bake a 10K celebration cake. I think life's too short to not celebrate every single milestone. So we're gonna do a Q&A, we're gonna bake a cake, and I'm so excited. I'm making it from scratch. Okay, yeah, I'm totally not making it from scratch, but this is still baking because I have to add stuff to the mix. My vision is like, I don't think this is gonna focus, but this is like a confetti cake. I wanna do a confetti cake. I wanna try to do layers, and I wanna like ice it on the outside with white icing. This is just like whipped vanilla frosting. And then with pink icing, I want to write like 10K on it and then do hearts on it, because I figured that would be fitting because it's like I love you guys, so it's like hearts. And then I'm also like a romance writer, so I feel like hearts are perfect. So yeah, I've never done this before. I've never iced a cake ever. And I bake, but I don't really bake cakes. So I figured it would be best to use a mix to make it easier. And this little thing for the icing. I think it's like a squeeze thing to make it so much easier. So this is dummy prepared. We're good. Yeah. So I asked you guys to send in questions on Instagram and on my community tab page. So I'm going to be answering them while I bake this cake, and I'm so excited. First things first, I'm going to tie my hair back and wash my hands. This is me grabbing an elastic, that's why I came so close to the camera. Okay, hair is tied back out of my face, and we're going to wash the hands. Okay, so the first question is, who is your favorite character you've ever written? I don't know if you're not supposed to choose a favorite child as a mother, but Ian Fraser is my favorite character that I've ever written. He's my love interest in my current YA romance work in progress, and I just love him because he's so fun to write. I love his voice, and I love his backstory, and I think it shaped his character so well. So I literally have so much fun writing him. He's just my favorite character that I've written thus far. So yeah. Oh, also I have a coffee, duh. I'm gonna be drinking this while I bake. Okay, someone asked how long it usually takes me to write a book. If I write a book, I'm just gonna consider you mean like an entire like first draft. And the answer is it varies for every single book. Project Soulmates took 1 month because I did it during NaNoWriMo. But then Project ITL, which is another one of my projects that I'm working on, took more than that, like 2 months or something like that. So it definitely depends. I think maybe like the more books that I write, the more I'll develop like a writing routine and structure for writing, and it'll be more uniform for every single book I write. But for now, it very much varies. Oh, I have to preheat the oven to 350. So I'm gonna do that. Ooh, okay, Brittany asked me what's my favorite book of 2023 so far. I think I've read like 9 books so far this year, which is pretty good for me. You guys might not think that's a lot, but I think for me that's pretty good. And my taste has been pretty varied for the books that I've read, especially because some of them were for my English classes. I think my favorite one so far has been Dance of Thieves. Like, I love that book so much, I gave it a 5 stars. And it's a chunky fantasy, so that surprised me because I love fantasies, but I'm not a huge fantasy reader by all means. But that book is so good, y'all. I loved it so much. It's one that I definitely plan to reread over and over again in the future. It's so good. And maybe one of the reasons I gravitate towards it is because it's an enemies to lovers, which is my favorite romance trope ever. And it has forced proximity in it. Oh, it's just so good. Ooh, it's so pretty. Oh my god, it smells so good. I wasn't sure if I was supposed to get like 2 boxes or 1, but like I felt like if I got 2 boxes, we wouldn't, like, my family wouldn't finish this cake because we're not like a bunch of sweet tooths. Like, but now that I look at it, I feel like I should have gotten 2 because I want this to be 2 layers. So it might just have to be, we'll see, depending on how much batter it is, it might have to be 1 layer, and then I slice it in half, and then I make that 2 layers instead of what I was gonna do, which is pour it into 2 different cake pans. We'll see. Okay, now I'm supposed to mix water, oil, and eggs in a large bowl with a mixer. I have no idea where our mixer is. I went looking for it, don't know where it is. So you know what? This might be a workout for me, but you know what? We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. In the olden days, I bet they didn't have cake mixers. So I need 1 cup of water, half a cup of vegetable oil, 3 eggs. I'm gonna get the ingredients out. What is my favorite trope to write, and what's my favorite trope to read? Okay, I kind of just answered this. My favorite trope to read is definitely enemies to lovers. 1010%. I love enemies to lovers. Doesn't mean I don't love the other tropes, I love them too, but enemies to lovers is absolutely my favorite. And to write, I don't want to say enemies to lovers because Project ITL actually isn't fully an enemies to lovers. Like, it kind of is, but it's way less slow burn than Project Soulmates. Okay, I think it is. It's still basically enemies to lovers, so that'll probably be my final answer. However, I think a better answer is opposites attract. Like, I write a lot of characters who have different personalities that end up complementing each other ultimately at the end. I don't know if that's a trope, but that's what I'll answer. Should I use water or milk? What do people use? Can I use almond milk? Should I use water? Okay, I decided we're gonna do part milk and part water because I don't like having to choose between the both of them. Also, if this confuses you, we have bagged milk in Canada, so there's that. Wait, maybe I should make like a little well in the middle, right? I feel like I see people do that. Okay, we're gonna make a little well in the middle. Boop. And then I'll add the water. I've got me eggs. What's an age, category / genre you really want to write? Ooh, that's so exciting. I have a soft spot for middle grade just because some of my favorite books are middle grade because that's where like I really developed a love for reading. Like, I love the Here's Olympus series, that's a middle grade. Harry Potter, middle grade. I can't see myself writing a middle grade just right now because I haven't read a lot of middle grade recently, so I don't feel like I would remember like the conventions and like how to write a middle grade and structure it, but YA is what I write. But I think it would be really cool to write a middle grade at some point down the road. Do you guys have like an author bucket list? Because I feel like I have one mentally. And a genre that I really want to try writing someday in the future is a mystery, like murder mystery. I don't know, I've just been reading a lot of them lately and it just seems so fun to write, and I don't think it's too far from the writing style that I have right now when I look to authors like Karen M. McManus for like the One of Us is Next, One of Us is Lying, or like the Good Girl's Guide to Murder series. Like, they're lighthearted still. So yeah, I think I really want to try a murder mystery at some point. I think that'd be really fun. Okay, you guys, I keep saying that I've mastered my one-handed egg cracks, so I can't not do a one-handed egg crack. It's just so satisfying. I don't know if there's like a trick to it, but I just put my hand on it like this and then I crack right in the middle and then I spread it open with these fingers. That one was bad. Half a cup of vegetable oil. Okay, time to mix. I feel like this bowl could have been a little bit bigger, but that's okay. We're gonna be careful, we're gonna make it work. So someone asked, what's your writing process like? Again, I don't think I've written enough books to really have a defined writing process, but generally it goes from idea, brainstorming the idea, outlining it, draft one, let it sit, come back to it, reread it, and take notes, apply that to a new outline, do another draft, and so on and so forth until I feel like it's ready. And basically this whole channel documents my writing process because I think I started this channel when I was starting to brainstorm for Project Soulmates, and you can kind of see my whole entire process through different vlogs. What's your favorite thing about writing? This is gonna sound really cheesy, but I think my favorite thing is literally just bringing an idea to life. Like, I think it's the most exciting thing ever to have an idea that you're really excited about and it's like itching to come out and breathe and like live on paper on your empty document. So I think that's literally my favorite part, is to just watch it come to life. And I think some of the most exciting moments is when like you're writing and the story takes you somewhere that you didn't expect because it's just so vivid and lifelike, you know? Or your characters too. Like, in my head, my characters are real and I'm just like telling their story. How long did it take for you to write the first draft of your work in progress that revolves around music? Okay, so I think they're talking about Project ITL, which is the one I started last summer, and it does revolve around music, and I'm so excited to get back into that really soon because my plan is to write it this June. Like the second draft. But the first draft took me a while, I'm pretty sure, because I kind of like discovery wrote it, like it was a discovery draft and not as outlined as my other projects usually are. So that one took me a while, I think. I don't remember how many months, maybe, I think more than 2, but yeah, a couple months. Okay, you guys, I need to put muscle into this because I feel like I've been mixing it so gingerly, but it's looking pretty good. Like, everything looks like it's mixed together well. You guys, it's ready, I think. I'll come show you. Do we see that? Very pretty. It smells amazing, by the way. And just like that, we're ready to line it. Wow, that was so easy. I'm so glad I bought mix. So, like I said, I have 2 baking pans because I was gonna make it big, 2-layered cake. But this is not a lot of dough and I don't think it rises that much. So I'm gonna make one, like I said, and cut it. And if it fills this, like overflowing, then I guess I'll make 2. I don't know, because this is huge. I don't think I can fill this. Okay, I'm gonna grease the bottom of this with some olive oil. And my fingers are clean, so I'm just gonna use my fingers. I feel like it's the easiest to maneuver it around. It says to grease the bottom only, and I don't know why. Okay, it's time to pour. I have a spatula here to help me. Someone asked what made you start writing. You guys, I wish I had like a cute little inspirational what made me start writing story, but I started like my first piece of written work that I have dates back to when I was 6 years old. So I started writing like at a really, really young age. Mind you, I never finished any story. It was a bunch of beginnings and stuff, which is still fine. But yeah, I started writing when I was 6 years old. And I think it's because from a really young age, my sisters and I were huge readers. Like my parents would take us to the library all the time. We would spend entire like days there, like from when the library opened all the way to closing, just reading books. Like I remember the library would open and we would pick out a bunch of books that sounded interesting. We'd go read the back of books, pick it out, develop a pile, and then we'd take it over to a couch and we would literally sit there and read. We would pick out one book, read it, finish it, go to the next one, read it, finish it. So I was a huge reader since I was a little kid, and I guess at some point I was just like, okay, I'm gonna write my own story. So it was from a really young age. I don't know what exactly like set off that desire to write, but I think it was just because I was a reader from a young age. Okay, it's in here. This is what it looks like. I hope it rises because it's really flat right now. So it might be a really flat cake, we'll see. Okay, as always, when I'm done baking, there's a mess around. Oh, and the oil is leaking. Okay, I actually have to go pick up my sister from the bus station. So I'm gonna put this in the oven for 28 minutes, 30 minutes. We'll see if it's ready, and go pick her up, come back, and I will continue to answer some more questions while I ice this cake. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I'm losing a bit of natural light because that took way longer than expected. But I took the cake out of the oven and I kind of leveled it out with a knife. But it's also really small. So I don't know why it's so small, but it's okay. It's fine. We'll make it work. I thought they rise, but no. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this right in the middle so that I can have 2 layers. Okay, we have layer 1 here, and I'm going to put some icing in the middle, a nice good layer. And then I'm gonna put the other layer on top, and then I'm gonna go around. It's gonna be a very small cake, but we're pushing through. So anyway, another question is tips for making a writing YouTube channel. My tip would honestly just be to go for it, because I've actually had quite a few DMs like, I don't know if I should start a YouTube channel, or I'm thinking of one, but I'm hesitating. And that was me before I started mine, but it was probably one of the best decisions I've ever made because it kind of put writing as a bigger priority in my life, and I don't think I would have written as much as I have to this point if I didn't have one. Just because before I wasn't super serious about writing, but then that kind of emphasized, okay, this is what I want to do. And it was a nice way to connect with other people and find more people who like writing just like me. So if you are thinking about making a writing YouTube channel, I would definitely suggest just going for it. And you can send me a DM and I can help you if you'd like. But also I have quite a few tips that I think would be better in like a video if I do like a whole sit down video about it. But yeah, my tip would just be to go for it, honestly. You don't even need fancy equipment. I use my phone camera. I do want to get a camera at some point, but I use my phone camera, iMovie, which is free on MacBooks and Apple products. And yeah, I guess another tip I would say is to produce the kind of content that you like watching on AuthorTube. Whether that's chattier videos or a mix of lifestyle and writing, or, you know, writing tips and stuff like that. Just figure out what you like to see and then produce that kind of content. I think that's another tip I have. Do you think you're ever going to publish? My goal actually for this year is to start querying Project Soulmates, which I think is going to happen sooner rather than later, which I think I'll get into in a future video or an upcoming video. But yes, the goal is to be published. I want to make that a goal for every single book that I write from here on out. Because the thing about being a writer is that you don't know if it's going to be published every time you query. It's not like up to you unless you're self-publishing. It's in other people's hands, basically. So my goal is to just query every single book that I write in hopes that one of them gets published or multiple of them. Top 3 favorite movies of all time. That's hard. I don't like choosing favorites of anything, but movies that are up there for me are definitely Knives Out. I love that movie so much. Kingsman: The Secret Service. Also love that movie. Crazy Rich Asians. I've watched that like 5 million times. That's such a good movie. And I know you said 3, but I'm gonna throw in The Hunger Games because it's just such a good movie. It's so good. So yeah. Also, Anna said, who is your favorite OC? Also, congrats. Thank you so much. The first AuthorTuber that I remember watching, I'm not sure if it's actually the first, but the first AuthorTuber I remember watching is an AuthorTuber who doesn't post anymore, which is really, really sad. But she does post on like Instagram and her website, so you know, she's doing her own thing and I respect that. But she was my favorite to watch. Like, I watched all her videos, and her name is Kim Chance, and I just loved her energy. She had such good energy and she made me so excited to write. And I think think it was also the excitement of finding AuthorTube for the first time and realizing, hey, there's like a platform on YouTube for people who love to do the same hobby that I have. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Kim Chance. There's so many good OGs on AuthorTube though that I watched. Like I've watched so many, but I think I will put Kim Chance as the special OC in my heart because she's the one that kind of helped me discover AuthorTube. Guys, I think people ice cakes when they're cool because this is kind of melting. I didn't think that through, but we're gonna prevail. We're gonna push through. Someone asked, any advice getting more confident with sharing my writing? That's a good question because recently, I don't know if it's actually that recently, I sent my story to an alpha reader, and that was the first time I shared my story with anyone outside of my family, and it took a lot of pep talking and overcoming self-doubt to do that because it's like, oh, that's so vulnerable, you know, like sharing your writing that's not even fully polished to someone else. But what I told myself is that if I love my book and I can see potential in it, then I should be confident that someone else can see that too, especially someone whose whole job is to point that out. So my alpha reader was from Fiverr. That was her job, is as an alpha reader, beta reader, was to see potential and to be able to help. So that kind of helped with my confidence. But even if you're sharing with like friends and family, I think you have to like remember that if you love something, then that's all that matters. No one else's opinion matters except for yours. They're just there to help give you some insight, and at the end of the day, it's you that gets to call the shots. It's you that gets to deem whether it's good or not. So that's my advice. What's your least favorite book you've ever read? That's a good question. I'll have to consult my Goodreads for that because I can't think of something off the bat. I've had a couple DNFs this year, but I don't know which one would be my least favorite, so I'm gonna consult my Goodreads and then put my least favorite read here. But you know, usually I'm fortunate enough to like what I read, which is great. And I think this because when I'm choosing a book, I usually choose a book with like above 3.7 ratings on Goodreads. So yeah. Okay, you guys, this is specifically why I bought cake mix, because if I can mess up cake mix, like what is... I just added the second layer. You know, I think it'll look better when I put the icing all around it. Maybe this is like crafting a story, you know? This is the ugly first draft, and we're gonna take our time to make it a polished manuscript. We'll see. What is my favorite book? I'm gonna say two answers because I can't just say one. One, I'll say The Hate You Give. That book is amazing, stellar, phenomenal, especially with what happened in 2020 and the whole Black Lives Matter movement. I know it's like 3 years later, but it's always gonna be a relevant issue, and I think that book highlighted that problem really well, and it was done in a really good way. Like, the story was just so moving. I loved it so much, and I loved the characters. I loved the voice. The author has exceptional writing. It's just so good. So I would say that's my favorite book, but I'm answering with two answers because I gotta choose a romance too. You know, I'm a romance girly, and I think my favorite romance is The Love Hypothesis. Oh, I read it last year and it's just so good, and I can't wait to reread it. I've gotta go with The Love Hypothesis too. How do you keep going when you're in a creative rut? That's a good question. In fact, I was in a creative rut really recently for writing, especially because I'm writing a 4th draft right now, and so I've worked on this book for so long, and sometimes it just feels a little monotonous. I'm like, oh, I've reworked this chapter over and over and over again. So even though I still enjoy it, I have less motivation than I do for other drafts and other stages of the writing process. But, and I said this in one of my recent vlogs, I've been reading a lot of books lately and just taking time to read and not write, and that's helped so much because reading just sparks my imagination like no other. I always like get bursts of ideas when I'm reading, like, oh my gosh, like I want to do this, and it also motivates me because I'm like reading a book and I'm like, wait, like remind myself, I want to have my book done someday. I need to go work on it. So honestly, when I'm in a creative rut, sometimes I just step aside, close a document, read a book, watch a movie, do something that will fuel my creativity and inspire me to continue to write. What made you start your channel? Writing, like I said, has always been something that I've loved to do, but sometimes it's just so lonely because it's like I don't know a lot of people who write and I don't have a lot of people to talk to about writing. Guys, I'm like almost out of icing and this isn't even done the sides. Yikes. I did not think it would take that much icing for a cake. Yikes. Anyway, so I wanted to start a channel so that I had people to talk to about my writing and my writing process, and I wanted to be able to document it. So one day I was just like, you know what? I'm going to vlog, and I was watching other author tubers and they were doing it too, so I was like, you know what? I want that. I want to be able to talk to people about my writing. I want to be able to document my journey, so I'm going to start an author tube channel. And I did, and I'm so glad that I did. Are you planning to publish your current work in progress? If so, would you go indie or traditional? My current work in progress is Project Soulmates, and I am planning to publish it. I'm planning to query it this year, and I want to traditionally publish it. I think both have such good benefits to them, but it's always been my dream to be traditionally published, so I definitely want to go down the traditional publishing route. Guys, this is so ugly. It's okay. Not everything turns out the way you expect it to. That's okay. As long as we're having fun in the process, and we're having fun in the process. Am I single? No. In fact, I kind of want to film a future video with my boyfriend because I think that'd be really fun. I kind of want to incorporate more guests, maybe my sister, my friends. I don't know, I think that'd be fun. What am I currently reading? I'm currently reading Things We Never Got Over by Lucy Score, which was gifted to me from my Amazon wishlist, which I have in my bio, which obviously no one is obliged to get me anything from there, but it's just another way to support me. And I'm very, very grateful that I got sent Things We Never Got Over because I've been meaning to read it, and I'm reading it right now and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm like 70 pages in, and of course it's a romance. It's very good. Highly recommend. I cannot believe this is done. Well, that's all the icing I have, so that's done. Kate asks, I wanted to ask, how many first drafts have you finished, and what do you think is the hardest part in writing for you? I think I've finished 4 first drafts. That's like the number off the top of my head. I think the hardest part, honestly, is turning on the editor in me when I'm rereading my novel and to be able to notice, okay, what's not working, what needs to be changed, how do I change it, things like that, because I'm the one that wrote the story, obviously, so I'm gonna pick up on as much as I can, but sometimes I'm like, I don't know what isn't working or not. That's why I like to get beta readers and alpha readers so I get a second opinion. So I think that's something that I'll get better with the more I write, and also with my degree. I'm in a creative writing degree, so I'll learn more about editing and how to strengthen something. I also, you thought I'd have one answer, I also struggle with underwriting. Like, I'm a chronic underwriter, which is okay for the first few drafts, but it's just a thing. Like, I underwrite my first drafts all the time, like a lot. And then also descriptions. I need to work on getting better with descriptions, and I'm excited to actually improve my descriptions because I think that's a really important part to stories, and it'd be something that would be very useful to be good at. At what age did I begin to write? My first, like I said earlier, the first story I ever remember writing was when I was 6. It was on our old, like our big old computer, you know, like those chunky old ones. Yeah. Anyway, it's gone now, which is really, really sad. But as I got a little bit older, I'd say like 12, maybe 11, 10, I started writing on Google Docs. So I do have those stories. So I have stories from when I'm young still saved on Google Docs. So maybe I'll do a video where like I read some of them. But yeah, the first age was 6. What's a really good starting hook? I think a good starting hook and like a good first sentence is one that leaves the reader with questions. Oh my gosh, I wrote it too far to the side. Boo, boo. Oh shoot, it's running down the side. It's dripping down the side. This might be the ugliest thing I've made in my entire life. I will do the big reveal when these questions are done. It's something. How can you come up with character names? I actually love coming up with character names and just thinking of them on the fly. Like, okay, this character feels like a this character feels like a this, and it usually actually comes to me really quickly. Rarely, though, sometimes it doesn't, and in those cases, I like to use random name generators, and I'll generate a name until I see something that I'm like, that works. Is writing something you want to major in? Yes, it is my major. As of lately, I transferred from my previous major to creative writing, which is very, very exciting. Ooh, this one was a cool question I remember reading. Heard this really cool idea from our Kwong in an interview where she talked about reading certain kinds of books or authors' writing as vocal training in preparation for writing a certain project. Do you think there were or are any books that you read to prepare for writing yours / get you in the zone? See, I think I do this in a way because when I do like writing sprints where I'm writing and then taking a break and reading a certain book, I always keep it in, or I try to always keep it in the genre that I'm writing in with a certain kind of voice, because while I'm not copying that voice for my own writing, it gets me like our Kwan says, like in the zone, and reminds me what I want to emulate in my own story. So yeah, for doing that, I would say I read in the same genre, so romance and YA. So it's like usually feel good, first POV, and a lighthearted read with like good banter and things like that. Those are like the traits that come up in most of the books that I read to kind of get me in the zone to write my own story. I'm curious for your guys' answer to these questions too. So if you want to answer any of these questions down below, please do. I'm sure we would all love to read them. Would you ever have an LGBT plus character in a project of yours? I want to make my books as diverse as possible and have as much representation as possible so that everyone can see a bit of themselves in my books. So yes, and I think that's so important too. And I think it's also kind of rising right now, which is very, very exciting. So yes, in every novel that I've written so far, I've had an LGBT plus character, and I plan on continuing to do so. And I think that's all the questions I'm going to be answering today. My cake is done. Some interesting looking, but you know what? I think it's time for the reveal. I'm so scared to show you guys. You guys aren't ready for this. You are not ready. I guarantee whatever you're thinking, you're like, oh, however bad you think this looks, it looks worse. I'm not gonna lie. I ran out of icing and other excuses. Okay.
What?
Yes,
it looks like it tastes really, really good.
Should we try it?
Yeah.
This is my twin sister Serena, by the way. In case you didn't know, she's been featured in some videos.
I have made cameos.
So it's layered. There's
oh, that looks so good.
The layers look good. Cheers.
Oh.
Cheers.
Yeah.
It's really good.
It tastes really
Maybe
good.
a little too much icing in the middle.
Really?
I don't know. This shows don't judge a book by its cover. I'm embarrassed, you guys. But at the same time, that was so much fun, which is what matters. And the whole point is that I'm so grateful for all 10K of you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for supporting me. Thank you so much for your questions. That was so fun answering them. If I didn't get to your question today, then don't worry because I will be doing plenty more Q&As in the future if you guys want to see more. And I'm so excited for the videos to come and to see you guys in future videos. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and join our writing family, my little writing corner. And don't forget to turn on the post notification bell so you're notified the next time I upload. And I wish you guys the best of luck on all your writing projects, and I can't wait to see you in another video. Bye!